In the past 15 years, it has undergone large-scale growth. 15 years ago, there were 60 cows in lactation. Today, there are approximately 440, and the goal is to reach about 500 cows.
They leave from the post-park pen, enter this group, which is an intermediary group. And as the days in milk progress, they begin to show their potential. Animals that excel here are assigned to this group. When they are moved here, there is a significant increase in production.
Our farm also operates in other areas. We provide silage services. Most of the demand is within the state of Santa Catarina, but we also operate in the northern region of the country.
It finishes with water, mixes at the end, and goes on for distribution. On a farm of this size, feeding starts at 4:30 in the morning and generally goes until around 8:15 or 8:30. Therefore, each minute is very important to ensure that everything is done correctly and the animals are not left without feed at the bunk. Here, the diet for the heifers is delivered, and a top dress of ration is provided here. Sometimes some additional corn is included. This is quite dynamic because, depending on the heifer diet, adjustments are needed here, both for the ration or the top dress of corn, according to what the heifers are being fed there.
Initially, we created this group considering the use of a sawdust bed. Until then, we had mattresses covered with a mat and applied sawdust on top of the mat. We observed some hock lesions, and it was clear that the cows were not as comfortable.
We already have the next investment underway, which is a strategy to improve the conditions of these animals that are currently overcrowded. There is also a group that is currently outside, with feed available but still without a 100% compost barn bedding area, without optimal housing. However, we believe that by the end of the year, we will be able to provide this barn at 100% capacity for these animals.
Sprinkling is applied along with ventilation at this stage. An investment was made in a sprinkler system with sensors. So if there are no cows underneath, no water is wasted. This method has been performing well.
Jesse sent a message saying that he won't be making videos anymore because you haven't subscribed to the Santa Fe channel. So subscribe now, and he will continue recording on farms around the world.
Welcome to our channel. Today we are at Granja Irmãos Auer here in Treze Tílias, Santa Catarina, with Mateus, who is our student. He invited us, and we have recorded this farm with 440 animals and an average of 44 liters per cow. We hope you enjoy this video. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like, make comments, ask your questions here in the comments, send them to us, and we will be happy to respond. Mateus, tell us a little about the whole farm that we saw today and what the audience will see in the video.
We started by talking a bit about animal feeding, the ingredients, silage management, compaction, and sealing. We also discussed the heifer rearing groups, how the diets are provided, what these diets are, and the forage planning for confined rearing, which is a significant bottleneck on the farm. We also mentioned feed efficiency by group, how each group's diet is managed, and how the groups are divided. Therefore, we were able to explore each sector and will be able to deliver a very informative video for you. My name is Mateus, and I'm here once again in Chapico, attending the Agroinstituto Santa Fe event. In my opinion, this institution has been bringing a lot of new things to the market, such as AI, providing easy access to everyday information right in the palm of our hand. Let's hope this becomes a technology that helps us in the field, producers, and also the animals. The event is very good, the organization is great, and Ferraretto brings a lot of day-to-day information as well. He manages to connect information from Brazil with the knowledge he has from abroad. Very good. Today, we are here to present a farm in the city of Treze Tílias, the farm of the Auer brothers. I will start with a section that is particularly important to me, which is corn silage, encompassing both preservation and silo management. On this farm, handling is performed exclusively with a loader, and the farm demonstrates great care during silage removal. This is something I consistently highlight, as it will have repercussions later on, impacting the cows, reproductive performance, and overall animal health. As can be observed here, there is very little loose silage on the ground. The silo management is excellent, and the cleanliness of the silo is practically perfect. Additionally, this farm enjoys the significant advantage of producing its own silage, possessing self-propelled machinery for silage production. This allows for harvesting at the ideal moment, provided that the weather conditions permit. maintaining everything within the necessary standards. If we examine the silage particle size, it is also very well processed. The particle size is ideal. During silage preparation, we closely monitor the cutting stage and determine the dry matter content. This is an essential aspect of the farm, since silage constitutes between 40 and 50% of the diet's dry matter. Therefore, if this ingredient is produced according to specifications and managed correctly, and high-quality silage is provided at the feed bunk, the animal's performance will certainly reflect that. Our target is always to reach between 25% and 30% of the total mass volume per hour in relation to the tractor's weight. The farm also possesses highly suitable machinery that facilitates compaction, including crawler tractors for compaction, the loader, and when necessary, an excavator. We are committed to achieving 25% to 30% compaction, and this is evidenced in daily operations. The silage material, which presents a desirable starch content, ranging from 35% to 37%, and dry matter between 34% and 35%, further aids preservation. Analyses of dry matter for these ingredients are conducted weekly, guaranteeing ideal storage conditions. Silo temperatures are also measured weekly and do not fluctuate more than 5 degrees from ambient temperature, which is a crucial indicator for us. Every effort here is aimed at optimizing productive results in the cows. With regard to diet preparation, we have arranged for water to be available next to the mixer, eliminating the need to return to another section before distributing the diet. Silage is usually the last ingredient added, especially in this vertical mixer, and after silage, water is incorporated, the final mix is completed, and the diet is ready for distribution. On a farm of this scale, feeding begins at 4:30 a.m. and generally continues until about 8:15 or 8:30 a.m. Each minute is significant to ensure precise and timely processes, preventing any interval in feed availability at the feed bunk. Feed bunk cleaning is performed by a separate team, so those responsible for feeding focus solely on feed operations. Maintaining a strict schedule is vital to guarantee that the diet is delivered at the same time each day. Here we have heifers that are in the breeding period and undergoing insemination. The heifers are reaching our target weight, which is over 350 kilograms at insemination, and the total digestible nutrients are excellent. I emphasize the complete mixing of all diets on the farm, including heifer diets, ensuring a 100% homogeneous blend and appropriate particle size. This particular diet is composed of hay, corn silage, and sorghum silage. The introduction of sorghum has been a highly effective strategy this year since we require an ingredient that prevents heifers from becoming overweight. Essentially, we need a feedstuff that is less energy dense, and sorghum provides this due to its relatively low starch content, much of which is not even utilized by the animal. Our aim is to use an ingredient that offers good yield per hectare while controlling body condition. The body condition score targeted for heifers at this stage, either for insemination or pregnancy confirmation, is within our designated parameters. These animals are maintained in semi-confinement, with no supplemental feeding outdoors, meaning all feed is provided in the feed bunk. As such, energy expenditure is minimal, and the energy density of the diet is kept deliberately low. The observed body condition score matches our expectations. There are no under-conditioned animals and no cases of obesity. On rainy days, the animals remain indoors, where there is a compost barn. On sunny days like today, the gates are opened and the animals can walk outside and benefit from sunlight, although grazing is not permitted. Nutrition is strictly confined to the feed bunk. The principal metric for us is achieving the ideal body weight at insemination, as this is the most critical factor. The most challenging period for weight gain is post-weaning, and our goal is to maximize efficiency at this stage. A heifer that fails to gain adequate weight post-weaning will ultimately lose 30 days of lactation at calving. Delayed post-weaning growth results in delayed insemination and calving, leading to genetic losses due to 30 or 60 fewer days of lactation. Furthermore, animals that reach targets exhibit higher fertility, better udder health, lower somatic cell count, and improved overall health. By maintaining the desired body condition score, we are confident that these heifers will enter lactation at 650 to 680 kilograms, as has been our objective. The importance of ideal body condition at the onset of lactation is well established, but maintaining it in confinement with a totally mixed diet presents real challenges. Often, we must manage the feed bunk with a nearly negative score or with 0 refusals in several hours when the feed bunk is empty, as these animals readily gain weight. They are pregnant and have minimal energy demands. This illustrates the reality I discussed earlier. Low refusals, empty feed bunk intervals, yet consistently suitable body condition scores among animals. Achieving 100% control over body condition score is quite difficult. Our experience shows it is preferable for a heifer to begin lactation slightly over-conditioned rather than underweight. We have not observed significant problems with ketosis or calving disorders in heifers, as compared to lactating cows. For first calf heifers, complications have been minimal, allowing us to be less concerned, though we remain vigilant. Another major difficulty is that in Santa Catarina, there are many dairy producers operating on small plots. All farms produce their own silage, but available land is very limited, restricting silage production almost exclusively to corn. The ability to introduce wheat straw, sorghum silage, as in this case, or oat silage produced in the winter, brings significant advantages during rearing. Without such flexibility, weight gain may exceed optimal levels. This year, for example, we began producing sorghum silage, a feedstuff that integrated very well into the ration, but faced challenges due to the main harvest window coinciding with corn. Generally, the harvest occurs between mid-December and mid-January for the first crop. Some farms grow a second crop, safrinha, and in this case, the farm produced second-season sorghum to reduce silage quality and digestibility, thereby increasing heifer satiety. However, by 120 to 130 days of plant maturity, harvesting was not possible because the material remained green with the onset of frost and insufficient sunlight. Essentially, sorghum shares similar requirements with corn, but differs in timing and behavior, posing additional difficulties. This year on the farm, wheat silage was produced for the winter. When the sorghum silage is depleted, we will transition to a small supply of millet silage produced in summer in certain fields. Adaptation is necessary according to prevailing weather and farm conditions. Depending on the corn crop, appropriate strategies are planned for the rest of the year. However, this is an ongoing challenge. Constant monitoring of silo reserves and crop progress is essential to ensure suitable replacements are ready. This is critically important for confined rearing. We have found considerable benefit in fully confined heifer systems, as optimum weight gains translate to excellent performance at the onset of lactation. Later, we will present data from lactating animals, but it is remarkable how well-conditioned animals at the start of lactation perform, competing effectively for feed and achieving superior production. Here we are at a construction site on the farm, another barn for heifers. The herd is expanding due to the increased use of sexed semen and low losses of female calves during the rearing phase, resulting in a growing need for space, feed, and appropriate housing. Currently, some lots are somewhat crowded, but there are plans for further investment to alleviate this situation. One lot without a fully completed compost barn is still awaiting optimal bedding, but feed is available. We anticipate this barn will be fully operational for these animals by the end of the year. This way, all will be properly housed and comfortable. The building visible in the distance is used for rearing heifers weighing 250 to 300 kilograms, while the adjacent space is for heifers in the insemination group, ranging from 350 to 380 kilograms. These animals access their designated exercise paddock to run, walk, and sunbathe, while the future barn will serve lighter, younger heifers and will be kept entirely enclosed. This barn will also offer rear access so that animals can exit, walk, and perform daily exercise. These animals also have compost barn facilities for rainy or extremely cold days, during which they typically remain inside. On extremely hot days, the animals may also remain indoors or are only let out late in the day. All the lower paddock areas are accessible for exercise and sun exposure at this phase. Feed available in the paddock is nearly insignificant and is not considered part of the diet, as it serves solely for animal movement. Therefore, nutrition is provided 100% in the feed bunk, necessitating strict forage planning, diet adjustment, and reduced dietary energy, all crucial for rearing management. Today we have two dietary situations. One diet contains 1/3 sorghum silage and 1/3 corn silage. So it is immediately apparent that this diet is much darker due to the sorghum. From this pen onwards, the animals are in insemination and service and pregnancy confirmation. Therefore, from here, I would still like to maintain a high average daily gain, high weight gain, and high energy intake. Beyond this point, we are referring to pregnant heifers, and further at the back are pregnant heifers and dry cows. Thus, as we walk through the pens, we encounter animals with progressively longer confirmed pregnancy periods, and in the last group, dry cows. Let us observe the body condition. Here, basically, no animal is below the desired body condition. Each one is either ideal or slightly above it, as previously mentioned. So, here we have pregnant heifers that are about to move to the Prepartum group, housed alongside dry cows. We can assess the size, conformation, and structure of these animals, compared with a recently dried-off cow. The pregnant heifers are indeed quite heavy and robust, and the dry cows have a body condition score of 3.25 to 3.50. We have managed to achieve this here on the property, and we have also seen that achieving excellent body condition at drying off greatly benefits lactation. Here we have two examples of cows next to two heifers, and there is hardly any size difference. This is the benefit of confined heifers with high weight gain. Upon reaching lactation, they have excellent body weights, compete successfully at the feed bunk, and display robustness during lactation, producing substantial milk yields right from the start. We are now at the prepartum cow group. Here we also strive to ensure all comfort features, including sprinkler systems and ventilation for everyone. The ventilation system will be adjusted before the peak heat of the summer. We are already coordinating with the maintenance team to realign this aspect, as we have identified room for improvement. If you observe the compost barn bedding in our prepartum area, it is extremely comfortable. The staff manage it daily and aim to keep the bedding soft and comfortable for the cows to lie down. This is very important. Regarding the diet, it is based on a commercial prepartum ration, corn silage, and hay. We are using this hay to dilute the starch, as we have high-quality corn silage, and, once again, we are dependent on the X ingredient, which is corn silage. The diet must be adjusted around it, aiming to reduce prepartum starch content to prevent major problems during calving and the immediate postpartum period. Still regarding the prepartum diet, we observe that the quality of mixing and the particle size are ideal. It is chopped hay with good digestibility, which the animals consume with no issues, and the refusals are very similar to what is offered, thus maintaining quality. Speaking of urine pH, pertinent to the prepartum anionic diet, values range between 5.8 and 6.6, which is within the desired range. My usual practice is, if I have adjusted the prepartum protocol and there are no problems, I do not make further changes. I let it operate as is, since the animals are calving well. Therefore, the less I change the diet or disturb the prepartum cows, the better. I have found significant advantages in this management approach. We are now in the infirmary group of the lactating cows. This is the only group housed on compost barn bedding, most often because the animals here have locomotor issues or diseases, so they are relocated to this area. Animals that do not lie down properly in the free stall bedding for any reason are also brought here, as well as our Jersey cows, of which we have a small number in the herd. Our facilities are designed for Holstein cows, and many times, a Jersey cow does not fit well in the stall, leaving extra space. For this reason, they are brought to this group. Discussing the diet, it is for lactating animals. Due to the farm size, we cannot formulate a specific diet for every group, so we employ the same feeding protocol and use the same feed mixer for the lactation diet, which is provided to this group as well. It is more challenging to manage refusals here, because animals enter and leave the group almost daily. Some may consume the diet well, others not as much, making feed bunk management the most difficult aspect of our feeding strategy. Nevertheless, it is a high-quality, well-mixed diet with ideal particle size. The long fiber sources are ingredients cows may select to eat first, but overall, the quality is very good. Here we are in the postpartum group, facing two heifers that had the body condition we saw in the previous group. Now they already show a considerable loss of body condition, but they are performing very well in lactation, so there are no issues. The group averages 17.5 to 17.8 kilograms of dry matter intake per day. Here there are postpartum cows and postpartum heifers. Our protocol calls for heifers to remain here for 21 days postpartum, and cows according to their stage in lactation and animal flow into the group. Thus, the animals with higher production leave for the next group as needed. This is a group with variable manure consistency, since the animals are more susceptible to digestive issues. However, it is a highly standardized group, with forage NDF at a higher level, more pre-dried forage in the diet, which is composed of cottonseed, corn silage, and a specific concentrate. In this ration, when we conduct Penn State particle separation, the first sieve results are slightly above the target, reaching 7 to 8%, whereas we aim for below 5%. However, what remains in the 19mm sieve is this particular ingredient, which is selectively consumed. Cows prefer to consume it before other ingredients, and it has very good quality. Regarding diets and feeding, we have two specific rations for lactation, a postpartum concentrate and another customized for the property for the remaining animals. The diets for other groups vary in the proportion of concentrate, pre-dried forage, corn silage, and cottonseed, but the concentrate remains the same. We've obtained good results. The farm's average feed efficiency this month is 1.74, with a monthly average milk yield of 44 liters. We assess dry matter and feed efficiency weekly, which allows us to detect differences such as when an animal is under bovine somatotropin protocol during a peak week, after hoof trimming, or during management involving large groups for insemination, which causes efficiency fluctuations. Presently, we have an average of 184 days in milk, a feed efficiency of 1.74, and a weekly average of 44. The current lactating group is 438 cows separated into 7 groups. We are now facing our high-yield multi-paris group. This group consumes 29 kilograms of dry matter daily and produces approximately 56 liters of milk, with feed efficiency at 1.92. To qualify for this group, an animal must be a multi-paris cow of high performance and must demonstrate this postpartum, or if she is in another multi-paris group and excels on that diet, she may be moved here. The cutoff for this group is animals producing around 50 liters. Our target is to maintain 25 to 26% of animals above 50 liters, and we are achieving this goal. Until the end of October, we expect some seasonal fluctuation due to increasing temperatures, our greatest challenge for milk production. I anticipate that the percentage of cows above 50 liters will range from 18 to 26% throughout summer. Our goal is to turn the farm into one with an annual average of 40 to 42 liters. Management is ongoing to achieve this number. Discussing this group further by looking at the body condition, one observes that these cows are highly productive and uniform, with little competition at the feed bunk, so they behave well. On this side, we end the postpartum group and move to the high-yield multi-paris group, followed by the general multi-paris group. The latter has a mean yield of 44 to 45 liters and a feed efficiency of 1.7, consuming around 26.9 kilograms of dry matter per day. These animals exit the high-yield group when productivity decreases, but they are still far from needing a lower energy diet since they continue producing well, hence the 44-liter mean in this group. Recently, we made changes to improve animal comfort. We previously used mattresses, but we tested sawdust bedding in some groups, and the difference was noticeable. When switched to sawdust, the cows immediately lay down on the new bedding, showing much greater comfort, validating the change as highly beneficial. We observed a significant reduction in hock injuries and cases of foot problems, along with improvements in somatic cell count. Everything is within our desired standards. There is some difficulty managing sawdust here in Santa Catarina, as one must be constantly sourcing new material, often requiring multiple suppliers to ensure consistent bedding management. However, while it is challenging, it has provided substantial results for us. Here we are facing two groups of primiparous cows, one high-yield group and another with intermediate production. Still good, but the high-yield group is particularly outstanding. Interestingly, this group of primiparous cows, unlike the high-yield multiparous cows, which are at 140 days in milk, are at 180 days in milk, the period when heifers achieve their maximum production. This group averages 53.4 liters, consuming 25.3 kilograms of dry matter per heifer and achieving a feed efficiency of 2.11, which is extremely high. In this group, we truly have the best performing animals, those with the highest genetic merit. They leave the postpartum group, join this intermediate group, and as days in milk progress, they begin to express their full potential. Outstanding animals earn a spot in this group, and upon joining, their production surges. Due to our herd size and management protocols, we currently have 3 lactation diets: postpartum, high yield, and intermediate. I do not refer to it as low, since these animals still have good production. Thus, this group, alongside the infirmary group and the group of cows at the end of lactation, receives the same diet, while the high-yield multiparous, high-yield primiparous, and general multiparous receive another diet. It is well partitioned. These 3 groups receive one diet, and the other 3 receive another. Looking at these high-yield primiparous cows producing 53 liters on average, their body condition score is not as severely impacted as with the high-yield multiparous group. Body condition is slightly higher, yet the animals are highly productive. Heifers have the characteristic of reaching their maximum potential after 120 days in milk and maintaining persistent production, which is what we find here. Thus, we gain advantages concerning body condition. It is a group of extremely healthy animals with attractive body condition and high productivity. Moving on to that group over there, that is our final group, the end of lactation group. Lactating cows finish their lactation in that group. It is rare to have any cows dried off in Group 3, the high-yield multiparous group, or in Group 2, the multiparous group, as these are always relocated for the dry-off process. This strategy maintains higher feed efficiency in each group. We refer to this management as our musical chairs, as cows move in every Tuesday and are also removed every Tuesday. This rotation must be frequent to maximize efficiency in every group, considering we cannot formulate a specific diet for each group. Therefore, the weekly goal is to allocate each animal to its ideal group.
Currently, I am employed at the company as an administrative coordinator, and here we have a group of primiparous and secondiparous cows. Initially, we created this group considering the use of a sawdust bedding. Previously, we had bedding with a mattress covered by a blanket, and sawdust was spread on top of this blanket. We observed some hawk lesions and realized that the cows were not as comfortable as expected. With this in mind, around 1.5 to 2 years ago, a test was conducted in this group, where we simply used only sawdust as bedding. In some beds, we also added tires to evaluate whether the combination of tires and sawdust would be better than sawdust alone. The best result was achieved with sawdust-only bedding. It was clear that it provided much greater comfort. Regarding moisture control, tires, regardless of intent, cannot keep the bedding dry, and with tires, it is not possible to aerate the bedding if needed. Therefore, it became preferable to use only sawdust. After this successful trial, we extended this approach to the other groups, removing the beds and mattresses and implementing the same sawdust system elsewhere. Another improvement was investing in additional fans, which were installed to start operating earlier. Currently, this set of fans starts at 22 degrees Celsius, and the sprinkling system turns on together with the ventilation. We invested in a sprinkling system with sensors so that if there are no cows underneath, water is not wasted. Under this system, the sprinkling is functioning efficiently.
We are here with the post-weaning animals, so they leave the pre-weaning stage in the upper shed and come to this group. The diet here is the same as the diet provided to the animals in the rearing phase that we saw in the other shed. What is different here is that a top dress of concentrated feed is provided in varying amounts for different groups. Thus, we have here a post-weaning group, then a group with animals weighing 160 to 180 kilograms, then animals weighing 200 kilograms and 220 kilograms. These animals are then moved to another pen. Here, we use the heifer diet and provide a top dress of concentrate, sometimes adding a little corn as well, depending on the batch. This is a dynamic process because as the heifer's diet changes, it is necessary to make corresponding adjustments here, both in terms of concentrate and top dress corn, according to what the heifers are receiving. This also varies depending on the opportunity or availability of forage. When sorghum silage is available, it is used. When there is wheat silage, that is used. If only corn silage is available, only corn silage is used. For the initial group, the plan was for this pen to house only primiparous cows, but due to space constraints and the need to accommodate all animals, there are some multiparous cows as well. However, the idea is for this group to be comprised exclusively of heifers. This group was the first in the farm to adopt freestyle sawdust bedding. Currently, the group averages 38.6 kilograms of milk per day, with a feed efficiency of 1.58. As I mentioned before, the heifers start their lactation here. As they demonstrate performance, they are selected to move on to the high-yield primiparous group. Ventilation in this barn, as well as others, is a focus for us. And this year, we have made a concerted effort to adjust both the fans and sprinkling systems, including the waiting area, to avoid the heat stress issues we experienced in previous summers. Here we see that the fan needs a slightly better angle. And this is already on our schedule to resolve before December, January, and February, which are the most challenging months for us. For this purpose, we use an anemometer on the farm to adjust the ventilation together with the producer, so that the proper airflow reaches the cows at the right time. This is very important. In our previous sheds, the fans would blow the sawdust off the mattresses, which was a significant issue for us. Now, with pure sawdust bedding, we can properly angle the fans, ensuring greater comfort for the animals and maintaining the quality of the bedding. Regarding the heifer diet, very often the goal is to control weight gain for balanced development. But here in the post-weaning phase, which is the most critical period, we want the animals to accelerate their weight gain and not suffer from an energy deficit, especially considering that they have just transitioned from being individually housed with a milk-based concentrate diet to a group setting. Thus, we must meet their energy requirements to prevent a drop in weight gain or compromise in immune function. The top dress is adjusted as needed according to management and animal performance, but this strategy has proven successful, and we intend to continue it. It also simplifies management, as the base diet is prepared for another group, and the only added task is the top dress, which is minor and takes place at a specific time of day, yet yields an excellent result. We work by making transitions, so this concentrate is offered at the end of the weaning period in the upper barn. The first group here is already adapted to this feed, thus facilitating transition to the next group's diet. The idea is to conduct these transitions in a safer manner, so the animals are less affected by the dietary change, ensuring continued weight gain. Now, the feed is about to be mixed, but indeed, this was the approach we found to make weaning less stressful. A well-managed transition has proven to be highly successful for us.
I am part of a family-run dairy farm. We are 3 brothers. My wife and our children, most of whom are involved in operations, also participate. Over the last 15 years, the farm has grown considerably. 15 years ago, we had 60 cows in lactation, and today we have around 440, aiming to reach 500 cows. All our cows are housed in a freestyle system where 3 daily milkings are performed, distributed into 7 groups, classified according to category. The cows are all managed in a freestyle system, and the replacements are reared in a compost barn, where we raise all the female calves. We are currently developing a project to rear some male calves as well, having built a confinement facility to supply this demand. Most of our forage is produced on the farm, which includes a proprietary agricultural area of 70 hectares. The remainder consists of leased and some purchased land. We dedicate about 200 hectares to producing forage, mainly silage such as maize silage, wheat silage, and some sorghum silage. Our operation is also active in other areas. We provide silage services mainly within Santa Catarina, but also elsewhere in the country. Additionally, we engage in beef production with a confinement system and maintain a small partnership in swine production. Regarding the cow's diet, we only produce the forage on the farm, while all concentrate is sourced externally. Any surplus from the dairy is used in the confinement system. The confinement was established alongside a beef production area to absorb excess animals, with the goal of adding value, particularly with Holsteins. Moving forward, we intend to implement a beef-on-dairy system, crossbreeding Holsteins with beef breeds for high-quality, flavorful meat. There are already incentives for Holstein X Angus crosses, with the latter providing a premium. Dairy production today must be economically sustainable, as everyone depends on a sustainable operation. For those unfamiliar with the sector, learning about dairy farming reveals the immense challenges faced by producers who must manage everything from the birth of the bezerra to the cow's productive phase, a process that takes years, not days. Dairy farming must be a passion. It demands dedication and a true vocation, as it is characterized by numerous challenges. We produce, but do not control the market. One must be committed, efficient, and productive to make it worthwhile. I am part of the third generation, and we are preparing for a fourth. It is crucial to ensure good working conditions for future generations. Today, we benefit greatly from technology. These tools must be leveraged, and production numbers must be monitored and managed for optimal efficiency. Without efficiency, it is very difficult to remain viable, especially as we have no control over the market and must maximize results. Having good people and partners is essential. Today, the focus is on production, while others bring innovations and insights on what is practical or needs to change. In recent years, nutritional consultants accompanying our processes have yielded significant gains, including a notable 8-liter increase in productivity over the past year. Such improvements stem from collaboration and the identification of opportunities for progress. Not everything is within reach, but one must do what is possible to achieve continuous improvement. I have been working with dairy production for nearly 40 years. I started at 14 and am now 54, having witnessed many developments in the industry. We maintained herds of 30 cows in the 1980s and 1990s. By 2010, it became clear that professionalism was necessary. The moment arrived to either invest in the activity or leave it altogether. We chose to invest, going from 60 cows and gradually expanding the herd, now reaching over 400 cows in lactation. Our Holstein herd now exceeds 1,000 head, which is considered large by regional standards. Previously, our average production per cow was 22 or 23 liters, while today we have doubled that average and achieved remarkable efficiency, always seeking information and building partnerships. Our farm now maintains excellent numbers compared to both national and regional benchmarks, and the goal is to maintain this performance going forward.
Here, technology is always present. One essential tool is the collar, which allows us to monitor estrus. Integrated with the milking system, it enables comprehensive productive management by cow. This technology supports all decision-making, such as relocating cows among groups, adjusting their diets, monitoring days in milk, and rumination patterns, all to maximize efficiency. At the same time, we detect estrus and monitor health, receiving alerts regarding feed intake and rumination for individual cows. By identifying animals more easily, using their ID and group, we can act promptly. This not only improves operational practicality, but also ensures animal welfare, as resolving issues quickly minimizes suffering and prevents animal losses.
We are reaching the end of the sorghum silo here. For this product, we also measure weekly dry matter content, monitor the average temperature of the silo, and assess its status. This is an ingredient with which we are still gaining experience here in Santa Catarina, because it is our first year cultivating it. It has performed very well, but we still need to adjust aspects such as the variety, crop management, and plant maturation time for harvesting. However, it appears to be a tool we will use extensively in the coming years. We just need to refine this part regarding the hybrid. A major advantage of sorghum is that it exhibits greater health compared to maize during the cultivation period. If we were to compare sorghum to a second maize crop in the same period, sorghum demonstrates slightly better plant health. It does pose greater challenges in terms of herbicide application and crop management, but it is superior in terms of overall plant health. This is one of the ingredients we use as the secondary main forage for lactating cows, a pre-dried ryegrass. Part of it we manage to produce on the farm, while another part we end up purchasing. Nevertheless, this ingredient is of extremely high quality, with exceptional digestibility, and this is what promotes positive selection at the feed bunk. Of course, we never aim for selection, but in this case, it is a positive selection. When a small ball of it remains in the feed bunk, the animals actively seek it out to consume. It is an ingredient with a very pleasant aroma, contributing significant palatability to the diet. Cultivation in our region is not particularly difficult. It adapts very well. For example, it is now late October, and there are still some producers making the last ryegrass cut to produce pre-dried forage. Thus, it is a very high-quality ingredient, and the chopping management of this product is something we have changed here on the farm to great effect. In order to avoid having to add this into the mixer and chop it for each specific batch at every feeding, we now chop, for example, in the late afternoon, the amount of pre-dried forage to be used the next day. Similarly, today, in the late afternoon, we will add this pre-dried forage, about 2 bales per day, and chop it all, so that tomorrow, the mixture will be ready. This approach saves time during mixing, bearing in mind that our timing is almost record-setting, as we need to provide the diet at exactly the same time every day. As we were discussing forage planning, we are nearing the end of the sorghum silo, and in the coming days, we will begin using wheat silage that was cultivated this year. Here we have approximately 2.5 silos of wheat silage, and we believe it will last until the next sorghum harvest. Ideally, the sorghum will then coincide with the availability of maize silage that has already undergone fermentation. Therefore, we are always adapting, and if wheat silage does not suffice, we will attempt to use oat silage or some other strategy. We are constantly striving with this forage planning to feed the animals kept off pasture, which is currently the main concern at the farm.